Well, Sam's not here right now. She is dealing with a baby Kai, who has had a really rough couple of days. He got a vaccine like 3, 4 days ago. I don't know which one. Sam was there, and his leg's been like warm slash like swollen, like where like around the injection site, which is normal. But he's also just been really cranky, and I think on top of that, he's teething or something. Um. Yeah. Yep. So we'll see how tonight goes. But luckily, I have a lot to say about tonight's topic, so I won't just be sitting here talking about nothing. So welcome to the podcast. Today's podcast is episode 10 for the parents, which is crazy. That means we've been doing this for at least 10 weeks. Plus we took an off week when we went to Sam's parents' house, so it's like 11 weeks. Time goes by really fast. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about active versus passive parenting, and kind of at the end of that, we're going to be talking more about like the parents we want to be, and like kind of on to the future. I feel like we're both in a really good place right now, even though like everything's a mess and like neither of us are necessarily feeling at our best. Like Sam's got some kind of like repetitive strain like in her neck, and it's crazy like when you see both of her shoulders, like this one's raised like so high it looks like someone's like lifting up her shoulder. It's nuts.
It does it yeah. It is nuts. It hurts so bad, and I like really can't
Maybe a little closer.
and I can't like really like lift sort of even freaking high.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's
It's
up with
weird
that.
how better it got for like
a
a couple of days. Like it was like bad, really bad, really bad, 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 bad. And it was like fine.
Well,
and for like 2 days or so.
Well, we did put a lot of like stuff on it, like
True. Like yeah, we've been doing a lot.
muscle relaxant and stuff, and then
Oh, I see
when
what you're
it
saying.
felt better.
I'll rub some more today. The
Yeah.
like salve
Thanks.
stuff. Yeah. So today kind of the stuff that I thought of with this topic was talking about like at any given moment when you're playing with or interacting with your child, you can or don't have to like you don't always have to be like cognizant of every single moment, but like you have the choice to play with your children like as in like directed play, like directing them and like thinking about how specific things are they're going to interact with them and what lessons you want to teach them through that versus playing with them like and just letting them direct the play and like kind of ushering their own imagination and their own like exploration skills and kind of a lot of stuff in between there. And so I'm like it's not like a one versus the other. It's like are there appropriate times to use one versus the other, and like when do we use them and when do we not, and how often are we actively parenting versus passively parenting.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. Well, it's not funny. But it's interesting because with my education background, my answer to that would be like to the first question, my answer to the question of like how often should we be doing that? Always, like literally 24/7.
Always actively parenting? So like never letting them like direct themselves?
Oh, I see. Okay, I see what you're saying. No, okay. I guess I had a different. Okay, a lot of things make sense. Now. I had a little. I had a different. I thought you were talking about something different. I see. No, it should. I think like it really just depends, I guess, on the kind of like parenting / teaching technique that you want. There's like different schools of thought out there.
Yeah.
The three that come to my mind like instantly is Montessori, Waldorf, and then I think it's Waldorf Regala. You know what? I've never really had to say that word out loud, so I don't know how to spell it.
Regala?
Regalia. I don't know. And I think personally, it's like a mix. Like what like the way that I think needs to be happening 24/7 is a mix of both of those schools. So I guess like one is like really free flowing, like like the kid leads everything. Uh the kids into dinosaurs, and everything that you try to like encourage the kid, like he has a like of dinosaurs, so you use dinosaurs to get him
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like learn about
like you're like,
counting and
"Ooh, what
stuff.
do dinosaurs eat? Plants. Like what are plants made of? Like how many plants are there? Can you
Yeah,
count the dinosaurs?
yeah,
Like what
exactly.
color is that dinosaur?" And so you use dinosaurs to leverage like learning of the different things that we would learn in like science and art
Mm-hmm.
and math and language and logic and
Yeah,
emotions and like what do you think that dinosaur felt when but yeah, so
yeah.
yeah.
And I think in a classroom setting that I really enjoy that a
Mhm.
lot. um and the other school of thought is Montessori, and it's very much more structure based, and like, and it it challenges kids to, like, it's sort of almost very generally, it's almost like the kind of thought where it's like, you have to let sort of the kid figure it out, and as they play with older kids, like, and they intermingle, they learn from older kids,
Uh-huh.
and like there's things that are hard, but it teaches them persistence,
Yeah.
and things like that. And I think that as a parent, it really it would be really beneficial if it was a mix of both of them, because we have our kids more so for more time than like schools and teachers and stuff, and we, like, it's our job as parents to teach them things like social emotional, um uh, and other things like tying their shoe or
Mhm.
whatever. So there are certain things that, like,
Yeah.
we as parents are going to put in their way, which
Yeah.
is much more like, it's not like as free flowing as Waldorf, but and it has, like, it pulls a little bit from Montessori, and so it's like
Uh-huh.
a mix. And we always have to be thinking, like, for example, um, Ollie really needs to work on fine motor. He hates it though. He hates it. So I mean, I'm obviously not going to force it, but if I can find a
Mhm.
way to like make it be an activity that he doesn't like, but revolve it around things that he does,
Yeah.
like, I'm on purpose putting that in his way,
Mhm.
to help encourage him to practice things that he won't on his own.
Yeah. I don't think I didn't think of this topic as like one versus the other, like which one is like the one to do. Like I kind of wanted this like of course it's a balance. And I guess you could argue and like there's probably people on either side that argue like you can do everything one way or another. But it's more like when do we use which styles and for what have we, regardless of whether it's like optimal or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the thing with Ollie is he does need a lot of structure, and so
Sorry.
yeah, and I think he does need a lot of structure, and so like like the first one, what's whatever, like
Whichever, more structured or less structured.
doing a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like parenting less structuredly is probably less ideal for him because he might get overwhelmed. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
like it seems like he kind of craves structure in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he might excel in a more like active parenting style, but like it's not necessarily
Okay.
like for
Okay.
instance, it's like whether or not you're doing Montessori or the other one
Yeah.
like
Waldorf.
structured or less
Mm-hmm.
structured, like let's say you're playing with dinosaurs because he likes dinosaurs. In that moment, you can say, are we just going to play with dinosaurs? Like, what does he want to do with the dinosaurs? Does he want to have them fight each other? Does he want to like build a dinosaur park? Like, those are the things we're doing versus like, ooh, like he wants to build a dinosaur park. Let's count the trees. Let's talk about the colors. Let's talk about like are the like what dinosaurs eat what? Like what's the difference between a carnivore and an omnivore and or an herbivore? And so like like it's not I think that sometimes it's super beneficial to just be with your kid. You know what I mean? Like to just be with them and like observe the way that they with the tools that they have in their brain and the personality they've already developed, just interact in the world without intervention and interference,
Mm-hmm.
and just like be in that energy with them, and
Mm-hmm.
like invite and open up to that energy versus like always constantly thinking like what's the learning opportunity in this. Because I think honestly, like I was the reason I thought of this is because I tend to think about those things a lot. Like I'm a very analytical person, and I've always thought about like what do I want my kids to learn? How do I want them? Is kind of moving a
I'm
bunch.
gonna just move it
Check.
closer. Mm-hmm.
Like how do I want them to like move towards, and not necessarily like career wise or anything like that, but just like ooh, like I think it'd be really cool if they learned about like emotional intelligence and self-control, and that like it's important to contribute, because I felt like in my childhood I wasn't really forced to contribute, and so like I didn't really learn the value of like being a part of a team.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Like I always did things independently, and I was like able to do whatever I wanted to do. And as long as I got good grades and like wasn't a terrible person, like I could do literally anything I wanted to, but I didn't have to usually like help out with the dishes or like do laundry or take the trash out, or like I didn't have to do those basic things where it's like, I know that you're not living here by choice. Like we made you, you're in our family, but still like you use these things, and this is a part of like when you use something you clean it up, when
Mm-hmm.
you like interact with something and you partake in something, you help with the things that aren't so fun about that. And like I think there's like so much value in that, and so I'm always thinking about those things, but sometimes like it's just so much better to just be like, you know what, like this kid is amazing as he is, like just as he is. Like he doesn't need to learn anything right now. Like just let him be a kid. Otherwise, like that could like if you're always on, like that's the thing that like starts to drift you away from your kids as they age and like crave independence. Like and you're like constantly trying to feed them things, and they're like, I don't want to be fed right now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just want to live life. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this podcast.
That's
Is like,
so.
yeah.
Wow. I never realized that you had those like feelings or thoughts. 'Cause for me, um, 100% always on.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not marveling at his beauty or
Mm-hmm.
letting him be a kid. But I know that he is doing all of his like a huge like
Mm-hmm.
basically he's learning nonstop anyway. No
Yeah.
matter what you're doing, no matter.
Like, is that Ollie?
I think
Yeah.
that's all. Yeah.
I gotta go. I'll be right back.
Man, that's okay. He can listen back. I'll tell him. Nope, he's still moving. Um, I think that like they're learning 24/7 anyway. Like figuring out things about the world. Like every day, Ollie comes out with something new, and I'm just like, whoa, kid! Like they're learning so hard right now, and I think that um, it has to be a well. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I think it would be most beneficial if it was like always on. So he wants to build, he wants to fight with his dinosaurs. Okay, well, normally he doesn't just fight one on one. And even if he does, like, we're like, oh, it hurts me when you bite. Like if his dinosaur like bites my dinosaur and I bit you, and oh, it hurts me when you bite me because it hurts to bite, it hurts to be bitten, or just things like that. And that those are things that he's learning, but it's also like playing with him. And I actually, it's so crazy, but like I really, just it fills my cup instantly. Like it makes my cup of happiness and love just like start like brimming out, because when I hear when we're playing and he says something that I've never heard him like say, or he makes a connection that he's never made before, and it just like it just fills me so much, and it makes me just marvel at how smart he is, and obviously I'm biased because he's my kid, so like I'm not saying he's like whatever, it's just my opinion. And so like I absolutely adore those moments. In fact, just yesterday, just yesterday, we were playing before bedtime, and I can't even tell you, but he actually said like a sentence grammatically correct that he like that in a way that sounded so grown up, and I was just like mind blown at how grown up he already sounds. I'm saying, I'm saying that I think for me, like my cup
Mm-hmm.
brims over I when I see Ollie make a connection that he hasn't made before,
Uh-huh.
or when he like
Does
and
something
so
that we've
like
been teaching him that he does with us, but he does it like on his own,
or just in
like
general, yeah,
independently.
like in general, like if he like today we were reading a book, and I don't know, but I forgot the word for lighthouse, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
tower of light. I don't this like house with, and Ollie was like, lighthouse, and I was like, where did you ever learn lighthouse? Like, how did you,
Yeah.
and like it's just moments like that, and even
Yeah.
that was like teaching him. That was being
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
in a sense,
But I
because
mean,
he
like,
had to come up with a word,
yeah.
and he knew
Yeah.
it, and
But so yeah, like kids are always learning. Like they're always learning no matter what you do, but like is your mind actively trying to control the lesson, or is it going like going with the flow of where he's going and like adapting to that?
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's totally like I sometimes I do try to like input something
Yeah.
if we get
Yeah,
near to
both of them are
something that like,
valuable. I'm just
yeah,
yeah.
if we get near to something where like if we're doing an activity, and
Mhm.
I think maybe he might be interested in like doing some fine motor work that he doesn't like to do.
Yeah. Like sewing
Introduce it
stuff
or
or like
something. Yeah, like
mhm.
I'm like, oh, we can use this string, and we can, I don't know, do whatever. And I do try to like push
Yeah.
him or encourage him to like practice those other things. But, um, and even when we're not, and he's like, if he says no, I don't push him.
Yeah.
Um, and then when we're just playing, and he, is playing with dinosaurs or whatever, he has these little dinosaurs that like hatch from eggs, and they're like counting dinosaurs, and he'll like have some, and I'll say, "Ooh, you have 3 of them. Wow." But it's like he has, like, you know what I mean? And that's on. I feel like
Yeah.
that's on
Yeah.
parenting.
Yeah. And I'm saying
Both
I think
both of those are on.
sometimes it's really fun to just like watch what they do without like with and just like go with what you know they want you to do versus
Right, but
what
I'm just saying, like, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying, like, even when you do that, you still say, "Oh, the purple dinosaur," so that they're
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
it's
color
really hard not
purple,"
to.
or
That's for
like,
sure.
"Oh, you gave me the red dinosaur," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
But yeah,
things
I
like that,
think
and it's
maybe
like,
there's a subtlety that's missing here where I'm thinking like let's say that I come home from work and like on the drive home I was like, "You know what? I really want to teach Ollie about like how that people think different things or like that like for instance that like when people are being mean it's probably because they're sad and
yeah,
they don't have a way to express it. Like I think that's a really cool thing to teach. So I come
yeah,
home and like as we're doing things like the purple dinosaur, like reading a book together,
yeah.
I'm like, how can I bring that up? Like how can I work that in here
Oh,
to
okay,
like
okay,
teach about that? Like that's like I'm
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
actively trying to like place something into the learning environment
Mhm.
versus like the learning environment's already there,
Mhm.
like working with what's in it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I do those as they come to my mind.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and so even though I do those as they come to my mind, I'm still 100% all the time like on about everything else. Like, oh,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're never like totally off, but
yeah.
um, yeah. So I was just thinking a lot about those things. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I think that it is like a nice balance between both of them, because even if you don't succeed that time, the next time it might be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I'm ready to try to learn how to sew, or whatever. Like
Yeah,
you
there's
always
yeah.
give them like the opportunity
Yeah.
to want to
And
try
honestly,
something.
I think it's like that. Like there's kind of a lesson in that even for adults that like kind of takes me back to doing business calculus in college.
Like your most like hated and
Yeah, where it's
hardest
like
class.
when you maybe like I feel like chemistry 103 was way harder than business calc, even though business calc was like calc 1 through differential equations, but it was just like the finite stuff. It wasn't like dealing with infinites and like not really any like geometrical calculus stuff. So it wasn't like
You're
really,
using
yeah.
a mighty lot of math
Anyways,
words
but
there.
like there's like when you're learning it and your brain just can't comprehend it, but like you just keep pushing through and you're like, this doesn't make sense, but I'm just gonna follow the formulas, and then like one day it just clicks, or like with a language it just clicks. It's like even our brains now as adults, like if we push against a subject hard enough or just like continue at it, like eventually it'll click. Like there'll be a moment where it's like an aha moment. And that's, I feel like, seeing how kids naturally work that way is just really cool. Like your moment, your lighthouse moment was from today. I had a moment in the car I haven't even told you about because I forgot about it. Where it
Tell
was like we were just
me.
driving and we were like, I think it was before we called you. And he was like, "Dad?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Sometimes when I'm at work, I get sad because I miss you." And it was just so cool that it was like, one, obviously that's an amazing thing to hear as a parent. Like it just like
Yeah.
hits your heart. But like secondly, it's like I think that was the first time that without being in an actual situation, he referenced his feelings like and he saw the pattern of his feelings and just wanted to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like we didn't do something that made him mad or sad. Nobody
Yeah.
else did something in that moment that made him mad or sad. He wasn't like,
He was just thinking about his feelings.
yeah, like how crazy was, like it was like freaking blew my mind. And I was like, I miss you too. Like when I miss you too when I'm at work and I think about you and I miss you. I was like that makes me really happy. It makes me feel like it makes me it makes me realize how much you really love me. And I was like, do you know that I love you? And he was like, yeah. And it was just really cool.
Oh,
But yeah, it's
that's so
like
adorable.
like again, I think regardless of whether how actively you're trying to plant things in a situation or how passively you parent, like
Mm-hmm.
they're going to learn from their environment and from the things they do and from the things you teach them. Like they're just going to grow automatically. Like you can't predict the moment that what you're saying or what you're doing is going to click with them.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Yeah,
yeah.
just on that same note too, like just like sort of a side note. Yesterday I tried something that I
I will
learned
take
at
that.
school,
That
and
information. Sorry.
it's like instead of like getting mad at them for like misbehaving or like if they threw a toy or whatever, like you get mad at the toy, and like so you get mad at the toy and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ooh, you're not supposed to do that. I'm gonna put you in timeout, toy." So that they like start learning that way.
Yeah.
And
Well, that backfired so
oh,
bad
that
for you.
backfired so bad yesterday. I just tried it out
Woo.
because I did like I was like really like almost at my wits end. And I was like, what can I do? Like
That was
how can I
funny.
take the toy away from him without making him feel
He
sad
did
and
something
like
wrong.
he did
Yeah.
even though he was doing something wrong. So anyway, we had this like ceramic like little unicorn that he like that comes in like a $3 like Fred Meyer's like almost
It was like the
stocking stuffer or
unfinished
whatever.
ceramic, like it wasn't
Yeah.
polished
And
or
then he
sealed.
grabbed that. Well, he was like playing with it and he started like drawing on our furniture, like our wood furniture. And Jessica was like, "Ooh, we don't do that." And I was already like I said at my wits end, like,
Ah, which is also not how I like to say things, but
right, right. But like I wanted to do something, but I didn't want there to be like super confrontation. And so that was like my plan. And so I was like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. I've been like procrastinating trying that method. And I was like, unicorn, You know you're not supposed to be drawing on. We do not draw on our tables or whatever. We do not draw on the furniture. I said I'm gonna put you in timeout, unicorn. Ooh, you know we're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And Ollie started crying
So hard. Like he like daggers to his heart crying.
and I
And
was
I think honestly I think what
like,
happened was even though you said the word unicorn and he probably heard it, it was like 5 something and it was like right before like we started getting ready for bed.
I know.
And things kind of go in and out at that point in that point of the night. So I think he didn't fully comprehend what you were saying and he just heard your tone and some of the words and just assumed it was directed at him. Is
So
what
he
I
freaked
think
out.
happened. Cuz then go ahead, you can continue the story.
Well, he cried like
Yeah.
I had just broken his heart. And I was like,
Yeah, it was
baby,
so
what's
bad.
wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And he was like, oh, you've been bad to me. And I was like, no, baby, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the unicorn. I'm letting the unicorn know, XYZ. And then he felt better. And then he grabbed another
The
one,
heart,
like a
which was
little
the
heart ceramic.
same type of material.
And he started doing it to the table. And I grabbed the heart. Well, I didn't grab the heart, but I was like, oh my goodness, heart. You are in so much trouble. I said, I'm putting you in timeout too because you've been a bad toy. I said, you've been a bad toy. Maybe that was the wrong
Maybe he thought you
choice of
said bad
word.
boy. And then sometimes when we talk about our feelings, we talk about like the heart, like how does your heart feel? And so maybe he thought you were
And
talking
sometimes I
about
call
his
him
heart.
heart. I call
Yeah.
him baby heart.
So he thought you were calling
Oh
him a heart and saying
God.
he needed to go to timeout and he had been a bad boy. So your method of like planting that on the toy did not work at all. For that moment, like was like not the right tool for the trade. There's no way we could have known, right? Like there's no way we could have known. But like he was so
It
heartbroken.
was so
Oh my
bad.
god, like
It
shattered.
was so
Just
bad.
like gutted.
Jesus, I was
Oh,
so
poor
sad
kid.
that so sad.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm laughing about it now, and I
Yeah,
did laugh
now.
about it then. But Jesus, like, oh, I feel like I crushed his heart, which
You
crushed
did.
me.
You did. I hope that
Oh
like and we
my
took so much
God,
time
we
after
did.
to explain not you, not your heart, like this toy right here, this toy like was drawing, you see the lines over there, that I like that was the toy that did that. You didn't know that the toy was going to
Oh
do
my
that and like
gosh.
it took a while before he felt better.
I think he finally was like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
because, and I know only because like even like when we explained it after
Uh-huh.
that, he was like totally fine.
Yeah,
he
there
like
was
he was
no
just
like
like
extra
there was no
stuff there.
like I'm wary of you
Ugh.
now. It was he was like completely
Yeah.
fine, and I was like
I'm
so
yeah,
grateful.
and I'm always worried, not like in like a long term sense, but I'm always worried, like in like I keep like because I think you and I both do this, but it's like Ollie holds on to things, but I think maybe not as much anymore because we've worked so much on his emotions, and like letting him feel like it's okay to be vulnerable and cry, and to feel the things he's feeling,
Mm.
but like normally he holds on to things, and so like we're always like checking up, like making sure we don't need like a follow up conversation and all of those things. But I feel like Kai cries so deeply, so deeply, like to the depths of his soul. He cries on command, and then he's fine. Yeah, I mean like he just lets it go. It's they're totally different. Like we won't have like I feel like unless something happens between now and like when he is a toddler that like changes that in him. Like I feel like that's not going to be the type of conversations we're having with Kai where it's like it's not about helping him open up. It's just going to be about like managing and understanding and naming his feelings, all the things we talked about in previous episodes.
So that he can use his words instead
Yeah.
of his cry.
Yeah.
Not that crying is bad, but I'm just
No,
saying, like,
but just
like as you grow, like you talk about.
Well, a
your
lot of
feelings
times,
and
like
you,
as an infant and a toddler, like a lot of the reasons that we assume and like science like hypothesizes like we cry is because we don't know how else to communicate our feelings. It's like the more you talk about
Yeah,
them, the more
yeah.
you can name them and understand them and like when they're coming and why they're coming.
yes,
Like then you can start to like communicate them effectively
Mhm.
and like work with them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I like we'll definitely still have to do all of that kind of work with
Yeah.
Kai, but
But you're
like
right.
the
I
part
think it'll
about like
be
helping
easy
him
for
open
him
up,
to like
yeah.
open up. He's just gonna be like,
He'll want like it's like yeah, he'll
he'll
want to
want
talk
to.
about them and
Yeah.
he'll love that attention.
Yeah.
Um
I really
like
do think so.
totally off topic. Maybe not, maybe I can tie it in somehow for like magicians, but like I feel like Ollie, and maybe this is probably really common for like like older children when they have younger siblings. Ollie has been like obsessed with pretending to be baby Kai,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I
Yes.
wonder if I guess this is kind of on topic because like we're kind of moving into the parents we want to be and the parents we are, and like the things we want to like try to like strive to do a little bit better over the next couple weeks and stuff. Ollie's moving a bit, and maybe so is Kai. I don't
No.
know. Okay, but I was thinking, I was wondering if it's because he sees the attention we give Kai, and he thinks that it's different than the attention we give him, which
Because
it
it is.
is
Yeah.
because they're at different stages of development, and we still do cuddle and like we're really intimate with Ollie too. We're not like, okay, you're a toddler, like you don't
No
need
more
hugs
hugs.
and kisses and stuff. We're like, but um whenever he pretends to be Kai, we do give him Kai like attention.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. Like it's just something that's gonna grow as he grows and as Kai grows. But I was wondering, I was like, would it be more constructive? Would there be a benefit to when he pretends to be Kai? And not to be like, you need to stop being Kai or anything, but like, oh, like we already have a Kai. Where did Ollie go? And like kind of like when he chooses to say he's Ollie again, then shower him with love so that he feels like Ollie gets love too. You know what I mean? Like it's not just Kai that gets love. It's like when Ollie's here, he gets love too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we shower him with love when he's Kai because he like mimics
We
Kai's
shower
cries.
him with a different kind of
Yeah,
love.
with a different kind of love that obviously at that moment he's maybe wanting and that's why he's doing it. Or
Yeah.
maybe I'm totally off and he's just like playing and that's a side benefit. Like he just likes pretending because it's funny
No, I
and
definitely
fun.
do think that he
But
does it
yeah.
for us to give him attention. And you know what I've also noticed is not necessarily like he doesn't necessarily stick around for the hugs and cuddles that Kai does. Um, he literally just does it so that we will pay attention to him when we're paying attention to Kai.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think it's because he feels like he has to compete with Kai for our attention.
Yeah.
But if he pretends that he's baby Kai and we like we have taken on Bluey's parents as like inspirations for our life with Ollie.
Yeah.
Like literally we
whatever
live up
games
that
he
role
like
play.
he pretends, like we go into his pretend world.
Yeah.
And like play that game with him.
Yeah, and like really go deep. If he freezes us, like the only way we'll unfreeze is like 911 emergency or like you know.
So like he'll be like freeze and then like Sam will freeze. And like even if she's like feeding baby Kai or something, she'll just like freeze. And then I'll unfreeze her and then after I do that back and forth with Ollie and he'll freeze me and he'll freeze Sam. And we'll both be frozen and he'll just be like eating his dinner. And I'll be like, unfreeze us, please. We need to feed baby Kai. He's going to start crying. And he's just, but it's fine.
And then he'll unfreeze one of us or we like, one of us will be like, ooh, the freeze is starting to wear off. Unfreeze, you know, or whatever. But we really like go deep. So when he pretends to be baby Kai, we go into it with him. We say, okay. And we let him role play that. And I think because he knows that when he feels like he's not getting the attention that he wants, he becomes baby Kai because he knows that no matter what, we almost always pay attention to baby Kai.
Yeah. So I wonder, maybe it doesn't have to be like a cold turkey thing where we just like stop acknowledging it when he's baby Kai. Or like maybe
why
it's
do you
like,
feel like we have to stop acknowledging
I don't think we do. I'm just saying,
Okay.
I'm saying like if we play a little game within that saying like, wait, we have two baby Kais, like where'd Ollie go? And if he says like baby Kai's Ollie, then we'd be like, oh my gosh, Ollie, we missed you so much. Like
you did start doing that today and I was like watching you do that and
maybe because I thought about it yesterday, maybe I started doing it subconsciously.
I bet you did. Yeah, I think let's give it a go because
Yeah.
you know what, like now that we're really talking about that and it like instead of just like, oh, he's baby Kai again, I wonder why, and not really like delving into it, it does make me feel like, wow, yeah, like and it's not that we don't shower him with love, but
Yeah.
he's a bigger kid now. He himself, like we give him the love that he lets us give him, but
Yeah.
I think that he is sort of jealous a little bit about the kind of love that Kai gets.
Yeah.
Um a little bit like all of the like, oh what are you doing, you just silly goose?
Excuse me.
And
Yeah.
like we've grown out of that with him, but he's like missing it still, you know?
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to express that, but also he doesn't want to be like, do that to me. But only sometimes. He's like a cat. He's like, I
Yeah,
only
he is like a
sometimes want that
cat in
kind of
that
love.
way.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think
Um,
that's a really
that's a
good.
really interesting. Hmm.
Yeah.
We can try that. We can try that. I'm interested to see like how he thinks about that or what he feels about that.
Is there anything else parenting wise that you felt you wanted to talk about like active versus passive parenting or like Montessori versus the other one that I can never remember,
Waldorf.
Waldorf.
Yeah.
Um
I
Waldorf
mean, I
sounds
feel
like a
like
Harry
we.
Potter
I mean,
reference.
I do feel like we definitely let Ollie lead us in a lot of things.
Yeah. And
And I
he's very like I don't know if that was he was always that way, but he's definitely very like comfortable leading himself to,
yes,
yeah, which is
yes.
maybe
I think
partially
Kai is more like, I don't know what I want, guys.
yeah.
He's gonna want us to like sort of offer him options
Yeah.
a little bit.
You didn't tell me I could have a real pony.
If you know about that commercial, you know what's up.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I really do feel like Kai would be like, as he gets older, he's just gonna be like, yeah, I'm, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, really like focused on one thing, and then and just like staying put. Whereas Ollie was like, go here, go there, go here, go there, go here, go there,
Oh
go
my
here,
gosh.
and I can totally see it now because as soon as Kai has a toy, he like follows that toy for a
I
good
will
minute
follow
for
you till the
him.
end of the
Yeah, like a good minute, like a
earth.
good long time.
I
And
am
he'll
your
be
brother
like
now.
all about that toy. And then he'll move on to something else and
Yeah.
it's fine. But
Yeah.
but if that toy crosses his path again, he's like, and he like goes after it. But whereas Ollie was like, no, I've seen that toy. Move. Next, next. Like, not really interested. He's not really interested in anything for too long.
Yeah. Um yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know, I'm excited for where we are right now. And I'm excited for the future. And like I was telling Sam today, like I want to knock on wood. Like I keep waiting for like the ball to drop.
I did
Like
it. That was my knock.
again, like it's not like everything's sunshine and roses. Like right now, we've been doing a lot of cleaning, and for some reason, I've had like a like a sore throat, but not like here. It's just like scratchy at the top, and like it's like just something that's there, right? And like my back has kind of been hurting, and I went through a cleanse. Like I did I did a 3 out of 5 day. Like I didn't actually make it to five. Like the liquids only cleanse thing, and so it's like that's not obviously easy to do, when you're detoxing and like you've had shoulder stuff. Like we're going through things, and like work is stressful, and like most of our projects aren't finished or like even close to finished, and
Oh,
so it's like there's lots of things that I could be like really sad or frustrated or upset about, but like for some reason, like I just love where we're at and
yeah.
like our current path, like where we're at with the kids, like where you and I are at together, and I don't know, I'm just really excited for that. And like I'm kind of leading into like where we're at versus like the people and parents we want to be, and like I was
Mm.
just the thing that made me think about that thought was like I see all this stuff around us, and like Sam and I have accumulated so much stuff, and we're both the kind of people that have like 1,000 hobbies and passions. Like we love everything. It's like hard to tell like what we actually want to do. Like I could do nothing but video games for my whole life if I like maybe wanted to, but I also love music, so I like bought keyboards and like learned guitar and like took voice lessons, and so did you. And like we love film and media, so we have all of that stuff, and we love board games, so we have 100 board games. And like I love collecting figures, so there's thousands of figures, and we have like every type of like art supply that
We
we
have
could
like a whole. We have like a good many Skylanders.
yeah,
We have Harry Potter memorabilia. We have a crap ton of books between the two of us that we have.
yeah.
We're
We'll
gonna
put
post
pictures,
it. I
yeah, on
promise
our
we will. I know. We keep saying we're gonna post stuff and we never do. Oh,
We're
parents'
getting it
life. I
together.
know.
We're getting it
We're doing
together.
our best to get it together.
And like I got into painting, and you were like doing drawing and other
I
stuff,
have
and I
like
loved
jewelry
photography.
stuff that I've like started doing,
So it's like
crochet, knitting.
yeah, we have like my mom's like
Paper
sewing
crafts,
machines
like a
and
Cricut
stuff.
and all of
So it's like
those. I bought this thing. It's like literally right there. It's like the diamond dot thing, and it's
oh,
just
were
still
you
too
like
much for me to
yeah,
understand. But I
that's
really
cool.
wanted it, and
Yeah, but it's like we
it's
have
just so
all of
crazy.
these things that we like dabble in, and some of them we stick with more than others. But like up until recently, that was so overwhelming to me. It's like, Jesse, just fucking pick something. Just like pick something and get really good at it to like the level that like the reason that like you pursued that in the first place, and like just do it. But like now that we have kids, like I'm so glad that we have all this shit. As long as we like organize it well,
Yeah,
because it's like they will have options to like explore without having to like take too many risks to do it,
yeah.
until like maybe they'll be like us and love everything and like get overwhelmed by like just like dabbling and stuff. Or maybe like you were saying with Kai, like that's what triggered the thought that like maybe he will be that person that picks one thing, and he'll be like, Dad, can I have all of your audio equipment and your old cameras and stuff? Like yeah, and like he might do some really really amazing stuff
But
and go
you
like
do
super
that, like, but
deep
I
in
know,
that.
like I know, but you go deep and then you move on to the next thing. But you go
but
deep
but
and you
not
move
as
on to
deep
the
as I
next
like
thing.
really like if I
Yeah,
like
not
let's say
that.
that like a really famous slash popular YouTuber right now is Peter McKinnon, who does like a lot of film and videography stuff and like photography and like photo editing and stuff. And it's like wow, like he's freaking amazing because he works on his craft so often. Like he
Yeah.
gets to those details. Like I just don't like
Yeah, but to
work. I mean,
you, that's
and
like, but
yeah,
that's his job. Like, that's what
yeah.
he, like, that's your business. That's
Yeah, yeah, and of course I'm not, but that's what I'm saying.
that's the
Like
equivalent of him
when I get
doing it
into
for you.
something, like the fuel that like
Yeah.
burns that fire is like, ooh, when I'm like that good, like
Okay,
you know
I
what I
see. Like,
mean?
so you want to be like that good at all the hobbies that you have.
Yeah,
Like
but
for me,
obviously
hobbies are just
like
like,
people are good because they put the time and energy and they
yeah,
have the like. I mean, like there's probably an IQ and like
yeah,
specific gift for things too,
yeah.
but
That
like
is so
yeah,
crazy for like, and but if we look at it, like the hobbies that you pick, sort of mostly, yeah, like yes, follow
uh-huh.
that sort of
Yeah,
like thought. You can't just like dabble a little bit in like music. It's like you dabble by actually going hardcore and learning an instrument or
yeah. Which
XYZ.
I did with guitar, like
Yeah.
yeah,
But like for me, like all my crafts are just like, oh, I have a bit of free time. Let's see what I can do.
yeah.
And it's never like I'm gonna be the very best that no one ever was, like ever.
Yeah.
Like
Like I don't play like a game unless I'm like playing it because I want to be really good at it. Like an online type of game. Like
yeah,
obviously like adventure games in Skyrim are
yeah.
like Hellblade and like King's Quest. It's like I'm gonna be the very best at King's Quest. I'm gonna get all the things perfectly. No one's gonna die. Every decision's amazing. Like first try.
Yeah.
Like no, but like if I'm playing like Rocket League, it's like I want to be squishy muffins. Like how can I be squishy muffins? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like I know that I'm not gonna ever have like the most amazing cricket cards or cricket creations
Yeah.
in the world, and I would never sell my knitting and crocheting on eBay or Etsy or
See,
whatever.
like I would never do it
Like
unless that was the end goal. Like I would
I
never.
just do it because it's fun.
I would see something on Pinterest. I'd be like, "You can do that with crocheting." Oh, I'm gonna fucking crochet the shit out of stuff. Sorry, I'm cussing a lot. I don't know. I'm just getting really excited.
No, I totally
uh,
I'm just like, ooh, like I'll dabble
yeah.
a little bit. Like I'll just like and yeah, I had no illusions of being like the next like super good
Super cricketer.
jewelry designer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, not even in my wildest dreams.
Yeah.
Like I save that kind of passion for the things that I
That
want to
makes
see to
sense.
fruition. But like, so do you have anything that you like to do that's like not like that you're not like I'm gonna be the best?
Well, it's not always about being the best. It's just like the level of proficiency that I want to be.
But like at
Like,
everything,
well, like
oh
in
my
board games, like
goodness.
there's like board games. There's some board games that are so complex, and I see people that play board games a lot more than I do, and maybe have had like friend groups since middle school that have played board games together, where they like already recognize patterns. Like, oh, this board game's like this. Like, I understand how this mechanism works,
Yeah.
and so like they can figure out a board game that's like a 3 to 4 day like process in like under 30 minutes, and then they
Uh-huh.
just start playing.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, like that would take me like a week just to understand that board game enough to like play it with other people.
You know
You know what I
what?
mean?
I'm
Like
so
I
sorry.
want that proficiency. Like there's like whatever the thing is, like I want to be proficient at it. Um like writing or like some sometimes even in like Pokemon, like I play Pokemon for fun. Like I haven't played Pokemon in a long time, but like then I see people that like know all of like not that I don't know a lot, but like they like when they're playing or like if they're like versus other people or like building their teams, like they already know the moves and like the synergy between a lot of the moves because they've studied it so deeply. And I'm like, shit, like, am I just like a fake Pokemon fan? Like I can't just enjoy it for the enjoyability of
You
it.
feel like you're
But I'm not
being
like
judged
that.
all the time?
Yeah, kind of like I'm judging myself or
Oh
like
my goodness. Like I don't
yeah.
think I've ever looked at somebody else's crochet or knitting creations and been like, "Fucking, how dare they be better at this than me?"
Oh, well,
Like
yeah, it's not
or
like
like why can't I need to be that good. Like I've never thought
oh,
that.
yeah.
Um
That's really cool. Good for you.
um
Like
our
not saying
friend
that in like condescending. I'm saying like
no no
that's
no no, no
awesome that
yeah.
like
Our friend Lindsay has like the most amazing like scrapbooks.
oh,
I do see
see?
them. I do
See?
see
That those
those.
are things I'm
But like
like,
I haven't even like
"Ooh, I need
but
to be a
no, but okay,
scrapbooking
but
master." Like I can't scrapbook unless I'm already master at it or else I'm just going to be creating garbage.
no, but like I see that and it's so like it's something that I actually like would like care about and like want to make it like beautiful and I like that's why I haven't started scrapbooking. I feel
Yeah.
pressure about it and so I don't do that. That's not like a hobby for me. That like once we start scrapbooking, that's not a hobby. It's gonna be a
It's a
project.
lifestyle. It's
It's
not a
gonna be
hobby. It's a life.
it's
It's
gonna be
about
like
that
a full
scrap.
on
It's
project,
not
you
scrap
know?
life. It's not just a
Okay.
scrapbook. This is a scrap life.
But you know what I mean? Like I like that's not
Uh
that I wouldn't consider that a hobby, you
uh-huh.
know? Like when
That's
you
still a
read, you're
hobby.
not like I'm gonna be the best reader in the world. I'm gonna get through this book so fast.
Well, sometimes
Meh.
when I'm reading, because I'm a writer, sometimes when I'm reading, I'm like, fuck, like, how did they think of this? Like, what, like,
No, well,
how
yeah,
did
but
they
you're not
organize this
like
plot? Like, do I not organize things good enough, or
but
like,
you're
did they just
still
spend more
enjoying
time?
it. But you're still like
Yeah,
enjoying. You're not constantly like I need to be better. I need to get better. I need to do better.
yeah, not most
Like
of the
you
time.
sort of like get
Anyways,
lost in the story. We
the
totally
reason,
digressed.
but this is like the type of people we are that like determines a little bit at least like the type of parenting, and it's like just the topic of stuff and like hobbies and things. Like I'm really grateful that like we have these like our minds are this way that we like dive into a lot of different things again because Like, just to reiterate that, like, that means like they have those opportunities. Whether they take them or not is a different
Mm-hmm.
story. But like, yeah, yeah, um, like, kind of transitioning to the topic
Of
of
like what?
parents we want to
Yeah.
be. One of the things along that line, like, I I feel like it goes with that topic, but it also goes with a lot of the other things we've said. Like, I feel like Ollie's not at that age yet, but like he just feels like he's growing so freaking fast. And like I'm like, at what point is there going to be like a rift or divergence from like wanting to be with me, or wanting to do things with me, or wanting to do things like me? You know what I mean? I was thinking about
Mm-hmm.
that today. Like, I think about it a lot actually, where I was like, we were talking about making burgers today, and I was like, ooh, should I do them on the grill? Like, it's so much easier on the pan right now because like everything else we're cooking in the kitchen, but like, should I do them on the grill? I was like, if I do them on the grill, like he could come do them with me. I'm like, oh, but he's so like so young, and like I want to teach him that stuff, but like that's like a lot of energy, like back and forth into the house, back and back and back and back and back and forth, and sometimes he won't want to come back in, so they have to like manage me, like, come on, Ollie, we have to go grab the pans and stuff. Like, you can't just be there. It's really hot. Like, I don't want you to touch it. Like, please don't burn yourself.
You just wouldn't trust him to not touch it
Well,
because he's so curious.
yeah, but like
And like,
he's like he knows about hot things. He's
well,
burned
he does,
himself
but
once,
like
but
sometimes he
you
like
never
you
know
never
for
know he
sure
could
there,
get too
for sure
close.
though.
Like, I'm sorry, I just blurted out
Yeah,
laughing because
that's
I like
fine.
I just that
Yeah.
yeah, like it's so crazy, but yeah, those
But
are
then,
all the
but
thoughts.
then, but then I was like, okay, well, what if he hits 4 and he's like, I'm not really interested in cooking with you. And I missed that opportunity to at least give him that experience and that frame of reference.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm just thinking, like, what is the age with which he will want to stop cooking with his dad because it's not really what he wants to do, or it's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay if that's like what he wants, but like, me as a parent wants to give him as much exposure and experience as
Mm-hmm.
possible, for as long
Yeah.
as possible. And so like,
I think you could totally. I think he's like ready
well,
to like
yeah,
for that. I
I'm
think
not. He's definitely interested.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying he's gonna hurt himself. I'm just saying it's a lot of management right now.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well,
when he's
yeah.
like 5 or 6, it's gonna be a lot less management. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, do I risk holding it off, like, and like doing it less now, thinking he might not care later? That's
Yeah.
just one thing. As I'm saying, like
So
there's so
here's
many
yeah.
things like
I
that that I
think
think about.
honestly like as we're talking about this, the thing that keeps like popping into the front of my mind is that like more so than in any other part of life, I think with children especially, it's something that affects us like on a daily level. You totally reap what you sow. And it's hard work. It's hard work
Yeah,
to go and plant
yeah,
those
it is.
seeds, but you know what? It's not that hard to like eat the seeds or eat the fruit of the seeds, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like to reap whatever it is that you've sowed. And so it might be hard now
yeah,
when he's like 2 and almost 3, but you like have to keep, okay, Ollie, we
yeah,
gotta go inside. I know you don't, but we're gonna come right back outside. I know, buddy, I know, but I just really have to go get something, and it's gonna be a couple of minutes, so please come back inside, or whatever.
yeah,
Because you can't just leave him out there by himself, and I have Kai, or whatever. And Kai hates the outdoors, so and also it was kind of cold today. But anyway,
true.
um but when he's older and he's been doing that with you, it's become something that you guys do and that you like kind of bond over.
Yeah,
And so like it'll like even if maybe he like has other things that he likes to do, he's always going to have a special memory of that with you.
yeah,
And so it's
yeah,
going to like bring him back and like yeah, I could be on watching this or coloring or whatever he wants to be doing at 4 or 5.
yeah. That's what I'm
But
saying. Like, yeah,
like
those things.
he could want to do those things, but like he probably knows that he would have fun with you too, and it's like,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So in that aspect, you kind of reap what you sow, and you could. I think it would be a good idea to do that because he does it. He loves spending time with you. He's like learning so much from like you, both of us, but like
yeah,
he's learning
yeah.
a lot, and
Definitely.
he's having a blast, and ultimately that's what he's gonna. That's the feeling that he's gonna remember.
True. Yeah, yeah. It's just hard. Like you said, it's
It
really hard.
totally is.
Like, yeah, it's.
I
I
was
was
just
thinking that
thinking.
too. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just thinking about that actually. Like I wrote that as my note for yesterday. I
Uh,
think, but it was like, kids. I know that people say it all the time, but seriously, it's such, especially when they're so young. Not so much probably when they're older. The need is a different need. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that it's not going to be more difficult or whatever, but like when they're this young and they're so dependent on you,
yeah.
it's so it's so demanding. It's a 24/7 job, 100%. And
Yeah.
it always will be, right? But like so much more now. Like every now and then one of them can't self-soothe, so
Yeah.
there we go. You know what I mean? And like, but at some point in a couple of years, they're both going to just be like, I'm out, like, whatever. And they'll
Yeah.
go to bed on their own and they'll wake up on their own and we can sleep in or not. Like, we can do whatever we want at night. We can have our bedroom back,
Yeah.
you know?
That's true.
And so, like, but right now it's so demanding. It's a 24/7 job. It's overwhelming on good days.
Yeah, I know. It's like speaking of like because we're talking about future parenting and stuff. It seems like I don't want this to be true, but I wonder how much it's true and like to what extent with every kid. But it's like when they're dependent on you, it's not necessarily fun or comfortable or easy most of the time. Like sometimes it's very rewarding and fulfilling. And then with to the transition of like being like independent from you in one area or multiple areas, like at that time you as the parent want to interact with them more. You're like, well, now we can do this as like equals instead of as a supervisor and an assistant. You know what I mean? Like we can cook together. But at that point, do will they want to? You know what I mean? Like it's like, well, we'd love to have like sleepover days with them or like like sleep in the same bed and cuddle when like they are self-soothing too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and obviously they're gonna want their own rooms, but like, will they ever want to like do that with us again? Like, what at
Yeah.
what point? Like, so it's
Yeah.
like, even though it's really hard, like during these times, and it's maybe not the way that, like, that's like perfect in our brains in terms of in terms of like having to manage it versus just enjoying the situation. Like,
Mm-hmm.
enjoying them as much as we can. Like that's something I want to work on. And like as we're talking about, like what do we want to do better at? Like I want to work on just enjoying the moments, even though they're shitty and they suck and they're hard and we might not be feeling good. Like trying as much as I can just to soak it in, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like it might. I if I'm holding out to feel good in the moments to when it's like my ideal, it might never come because our kids are going to grow up to be the people they're going to be. And at any, like, we can't force them to want to cook with us. We can't force them to want to read books with us. We can't force them to like want to watch specific movies or play games. Like, the time we get is the time we get. And if it's spent like micromanaging them so they don't kill themselves, like that
Mm-hmm.
might be the best we get, like in that specific like hobby or like aspect of life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to do better at that for sure.
Yeah. I definitely want to be less reactive. We're like almost out of time, but I
Yeah.
definitely like I guess my goal for like where I want to be as a future, like my ideal parent that I want to be and that I'm working on is to be less reactive. Like accidents happen. The other day, Ollie, we had like a whole tub of water beads and Ollie dumped them all over the floor by accident. Like it was such
It
an
was like
accident. Like he was
they
playing with
were
them and he turned and
everywhere.
his shoulder caught and they went everywhere.
They were in the
And I was
kitchen, under the
sleeping
couch,
Kyle.
and the
I,
Kyle.
I was
Damn it,
sleeping
Kyle.
Kai. What? I was sleeping Kai, and it just feels so weird that
Do we have a
I've done
third
that.
child that I
No,
forgot about?
no. I was sleeping Kai, and so obviously, like I couldn't help, and Ollie just like looked up at us like white as a sheet.
And we both just laughed.
Yeah, and we were just like, oh my
We were
gosh,
like,
oh my goodness.
whoa,
But
what
he
did
was
that feel like?
wary for like
He
a
was
good
like,
5 minutes.
I'm
He
gonna
was like,
die. Because we
there.
told him, he knew, we like told him to be careful, like keep them in, like don't spill a single bead, keep them in the bucket. Like, don't get too, like, I know you're getting excited, but go pick them up, put them, and then it's like all of them.
And then after he started realizing that we were okay with it, he started pushing his boundaries and trying to
Yeah.
squish them. And all Jesse was like, "It's okay that you dropped them because it was an accident, and we're not mad. But I'm asking you to not smush them, and
Help
you're
me clean them up.
on purpose
I was
smushing
like,
them."
it's making me really sad that, like, you're not helping me clean up with this mess that you spilled that was by accident, and it's okay. But, like, please help me clean them up.
Or
Like,
at least don't
because they're
smush
not
them.
supposed to be on the floor.
Yeah, and he did. He really did. I mean, as much as he could at his age.
And it
But
was like, I can't, like, we got through that situation, like, and then we, like, took the couches apart and cleaned everything, and it was, like, a really big, like, big cleaning, like, huge. Like I said, it was in the kitchen, it was in the living room, it went, like, almost all the way to the bedrooms. It was, like, our entire top floor was, like, spread with water beads. But, like, for some reason, energetically, like, it didn't destroy us. Like, normally, even if it was, like, okay, we would have, like, reacted the same, but we might have been like, oh my god, like, this is gonna be the rest of the afternoon. Great.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But we were just like,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, it was a really cool, like, it was a really cool feeling. And it wasn't like we didn't try to feel good or whatever about it, but we
Yeah.
just were.
Yeah, and so I would like those. I would like more of those moments where it's like, whatever happens, well, it's already happened. There's nothing we could do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't need to make it any worse, and we didn't. We literally made lemonade out of lemons.
We made lemons out of aid. I didn't say what. I didn't say AIDS. That's not what I. That's what I. Whatever. Well,
I know you did.
that's the end of this one. So.
Thank you
where we ended it.
for. Thank you for listening with us.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next Tuesday.